The American love affair with cars, meanwhile, alive and well. The dealers have the pricing power, and that's pushing people into longer and longer car loans.
Our Phil LeBeau has more on that story for us. Phil?
Bill, all day long we've been talking about this story, and I've been getting a lot of tweets. I've been getting emails from people saying, are you kidding me? People are taking out 7-year loans? Yes, it's become that popular. Take a look at the latest data, which comes to us from Experian. It's about the fourth quarter. What they do is they look at all of the loans in the fourth quarter, and they basically extracted that the average auto loan was for $28,381. That's a record high. The average monthly payment, a new record high at $482. And the real growth has been in those loans which have terms of at least 6 years in length. In fact, when you look at all of the auto loans in the fourth quarter and you break it down by term lengths, the only sector or the only length that grew were those loans that were drawn for 6 to 7 years in length. Everything else dropped. That's because there's been a surge of people saying, yeah, I want to spread out my payments even longer. The reason why? Because the loans, in terms of how much they're borrowing, continue to grow. Go back to 2008, it was $24,444. Since then, it's been going up anywhere between 2 to 3% every year. Most recent number, $28,381. That's the growth in terms of auto loans. Part of what's driving it higher right now is the fact that SUVs and trucks are in demand. They are higher priced than smaller vehicles that were popular back in 2008 and 2009. In fact, truck sales in this year up 15.2%. Compare that with the market overall, which I think, guys, is up, what, 5-6% overall? That's the bottom line. People are spending more, up-contenting these vehicles, and buying more expensive vehicles, so the loans are getting bigger.
They're up-contenting them?
Yeah. If you have a chance,
then I'm really going to be worried.
No, if you have the chance to load it up with all the bells and whistles, you want me to drop some dealer lingo in on you?
Loading
anything you want to say, they are putting everything they can into the vehicle.
But this point about the dealers is really important, Phil. Stay right there and stay with us as we bring in two personal finance experts. We want to know if you're no longer getting much of a discount for paying cash for a car. Is it a smarter financial move to take the longer loan at a low interest rate and invest that cash over the same time frame?
Joining us, an old friend, Jonathan Clemens, finance columnist, the author of Jonathan Clemens' Money Guide 2015. Mark Martiak is also with us from Premier Wealth, First Allied Securities. Jonathan, pay with cash or take out the loan? Which way?
Well, it depends what you're going to do with the cash. If you are going to take out that loan, you're probably going to pay 3 or 4% in interest. So can you have the cash that you would have used to pay cash and invest it and earn more than 3 or 4%. Clearly, you're not going to do that if you invest in bonds or if you leave it in a savings account. But if you go into the stock market and you have a long time horizon, yeah, you probably should earn more than 3 or 4% over the long haul.
Mark, this is, I don't know whether to use the word fascinating, insane, telling. I mean, is the point here ultimately that people are going to use the purchase of an asset like a car to get into the stock market? And if so, is that a prudent thing to do from an investing point of view? Or does this just reflect the fact that these car loans are available to everybody out there and they might as well invest the money?
Well, it is a prudent thing to do, Kelly. I don't think it's a problem because it's good consumer debt. And if you have most of your cash, free cash, working for you in the financial markets, specifically in equities, as long as they're in a well-diversified portfolio, take advantage of the low rates while you can, extend the term out. And even though the car is an illiquid asset, the car still is an asset that helps you perform at your work. You use it every day, usually, presumably to go to work. So I believe it's a smart move to take advantage of the low rates and the extended loan term.
But we had talked
recently,
recently,
if you hold on to that vehicle.
What?
Bill,
Yes.
I was going to say, if you hold on to that vehicle.
Yes.
It's not a smart move if you're going to turn around in 3 or 4 years. A, either you get into an accident and then you're upside down on the vehicle, or B, you look back in 4 years and say, yeah, I don't have the latest connectivity, and it's not exactly the most stylish vehicle. Then you're in bad shape. You're in really bad shape.
You're usually upside down on the vehicle because it depreciates significantly when you take it out of a showroom. As long as you're going to hold the vehicle for that period, I agree. Absolutely.
And we had a guest, Ivan, come on this program who is a retail investor, Jonathan, and tell us this is exactly what he's done. He's done it with the first car. He's now about to do it again. I think AT&T was the stock he bought in the first case, and he said, I'll keep doing this as long as these conditions hold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a reasonable trade-off, borrow at 3 or 4% and then go up and invest in the stock market. I wouldn't actually really be that concerned about whether the car is going to depreciate or not. Yeah, we know it's probably going to lose half its value in the first 4 years. The question is, what is the better financial transaction to do? And if you take a holistic view of your finances, yeah, you probably want to take out that loan and invest in equities. But if you're going to leave the money sitting in the savings account, pay cash for the car.
Mark, I was raised by children of the Depression. They paid cash for everything, and I don't know, I've got that gene in me. I don't like having a debt if I don't have to have one. For me, it just makes sense to pay cash if I can up front.
Bill, for many investors, many consumers, paying all cash up front makes sense. However, for a lot of clients, they feel more comfortable not doing that, having their cash work for them. As long as, Jonathan had indicated, as long as that cash is not sitting in a money market account, paying a very flat rate, because after taxes, after inflation, you're not making any money in the money market account. You want all your money working for you.
I still kind of can't get my head around this whole discussion, because it sounds like the advice in today's environment is basically, yeah, go ahead and do this. And it just seems to fly in the face of common sense. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm missing something.
Well, you've got lower interest rates, Kelly. Keep that in mind. The interest rate right now on these 84-month loans, it's not 0%, but it's pretty darn close to it. That's some cheap money to take out over the course of 7 years. Also, keep in mind that leasing right now, about roughly 29-30% of all of these purchases in the fourth quarter, they were actually 3-year leases. That's where a lot of people are rotating instead, because they know that they're going to want a different vehicle in 3 or 4 years.
That's the thing. Usually if I did take out a car loan, it was for 4 years. Right. 7 years, that's too much. I don't own the car that long.
That doesn't really matter, Bill. I mean, the question is, what else are you going to do with the money?
I understand.
But one thought here, if you are going to borrow, don't necessarily take the auto loan, and certainly don't necessarily take it from the dealership. A better option for a lot of people is actually take out a home equity line of credit, because the interest on the home equity line of credit will probably be a similar range to the auto loan, and the interest is going to be tax deductible.
And finally, Phil, this does make me wonder about the auto sales numbers. I'm sure this isn't happening at a large enough scale to suggest that we can't take them at face value. But if some of the demand for autos is spurred not by fundamental demand for autos, so much as inability to or a desire to invest in the stock market, well, then we have to, include that context, I would guess, in the months ahead.
Yeah, but I would keep in mind this, Kelly. The average auto in this country is still at 11 and a half years of age. So there's still a lot of pent-up demand out there. I mean, there are a lot of people who are driving around with cassette decks. I know that sounds strange to people, but there are a lot of people who, Bill, would be very comfortable in their car, driving some of those older vehicles. They are going to be coming into the market and continue coming into the market.
My 8-track works just fine, LeBeau. It's fine.
I just like the design of the older ones. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Kelly.
Jonathan Clemens.
Older for her is 1999 or something.
No,
like that.
1989 Toyota Land Cruiser is my favorite vehicle of all time, preferably in light blue.
Wow. Wow. How specific is that?